you've got a little bit of time on your hands. Okay, so you can, yeah, still prepare. Okay, all right, guys, let's get started. What I had decided to do today is to do some circle analytical geometry with you. So I found this question that I wanted us to work through together. I hope it's big enough. What I've done is I've sort of tried to squash it all together so that we can see the diagram together with the questions. So I hope that everybody can see that fine. If not, then I can make it bigger, but then we just have to go up and down, it's a bit irritating. Okay, so in the diagram below, a circle with center M, 5 and 4, touches the y-axis at N and intersects the x-axis at A and B. PBL and SKL are tangents to the circle, where SKL is drawn parallel to the x-axis. All right, P and S are points on the y-axis and LN is drawn. Okay, so if line SKL is parallel to the x-axis, what can we say about it? It must be a if SKL is parallel to the x-axis, what sort of line does it have to be? Okay, so just a horizontal one. Okay, it's a horizontal line. Okay, so horizontal lines are written in the form y equals. Okay, if they do ask us that. If it's a vertical line, then we write it in the form x equals. Okay, the other thing that I noticed that we've also got with this question is tangents from the same point. So LK and LB will be equal to one another as well. We may need that in the question. All right, 3.1. They want us to write down the length of the radius of the circle having center M. All right, so the first thing that they want us to do is write down the length of the radius. What do you guys think? How can we look at the diagram and figure out what the length of the radius is? Any ideas? Anybody know where to get started with this? It's just 1 mark. The length of the radius. Okay, so Mr. Bavuma, use the x value of the coordinate. It works in this case only. Absolutely, because we know that at N, the x coordinate is 0, right? Because that's a point on the y-axis. We know that at M, the x coordinate is 5, isn't it? So that means that the length of the radius has to be 5 units long in this particular case. Does that make sense to everybody? Now they want us to write down, sorry, am I going too fast? Does that make sense? Everybody okay with that? Cool, all right, good stuff. So now they want us to write down the equation of the circle having center M in the form x minus a squared plus y minus b squared equals r squared. Okay, so we would write that as x minus 5 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 25. Does that make sense? Because it would be equal to r squared. All right, and we've already determined that the radius is 5 units long. Okay, now they want us to calculate the coordinates of A. Can I let you guys do that on your own? Remember, A is a point on the x-axis. Okay, I'm going to let you work out the coordinates of A by yourselves. When you've got the coordinates of A, you're welcome to share them in the chat with Nelisa and I. Okay, so Hope and Cornelia have got the same answer. Anybody else? Okay, Michael Sandila, you got the same answer as them as well. Juanita, you too. Okay, so what I would have done here is I know that A is a point on the x-axis, which means y has to be equal to 0. So I would have taken the x minus 5 squared and left it as is. And then I would have substituted 0 in place of the y. And I would have made myself a trinomial, and then I would have solved appropriately. Okay, so here we would have ended up with x squared minus 10x plus 25 plus 16 minus 25 equals 0. So that gives us x squared minus 10x plus 16 equals 0. So we would have used 8 and 2. So x minus 8 times x minus 2 is equal to 0. So either x is equal to 8 or x is equal to 2. So yes, I quite agree with you that at A, x would be equal to 2. Okay, so therefore the coordinates at A would be 2 and 0. Good job. Okay, nice work, everybody. Next question that they want us to do. If the coordinates of B are 8 and 0, okay, so now we're feeling good because we know we've got the right answer. Calculate 3.4.1, the gradient of MB. Okay, so calculate the gradient of MB. So that's really easy. I'll let you guys do that one on your own. The gradient of MB. And again, you can share your answer in the chat, please. Okay, so Michael Sandile and Kaiser have both put in answers. Okay, so I would have said 4 minus 0 over 5 minus 8, and that would have given us, I agree, the same answer, negative 4 over 3. And we feel good because, yeah, gradient, Hope, just gradient. Okay, so we know that it slopes down to the right, so it's got to be negative, whatever it is. All right, so I agree, minus 4 over 3. And that then helps us to answer the next question, 3.4.1, the equation of the tangent PB in the form y equals mx plus c. Do you think you can do that one on your own as well? The equation of the tangent? Yes, okay, all right, go for it in Bongani, and I'll also do it after you guys, just to check that we've got it correct. Oh, nice, Cornelia. Okay, Marco Sandile, you've got the same answer. Let's see what everybody else has. Kaiser, you got the same answer? It does, Mr. Bavuma. It involves the perpendicular thing, quite right. Okay, because every tangent is perpendicular to the radius. That's, yeah. Okay, so I hope you're getting the same answer. All right, so quite right here, we would need to include some kind of the gradient of the radius times the gradient of the tangent equals -1. So if the gradient of the radius is -4/3, then the gradient of the tangent is going to be +3/4. All right, and then we need a point, don't we? Okay, so we can use point B because they've given us the coordinates, which we know are 8 and 0. All right, so because it goes through B, the coordinates are 8 and 0, we can now sub into y equals mx plus c. So 3/4 x plus c, subbing our x, subbing our y. Okay, and 3/4 of 8 would obviously be equal to 6. So I agree with you. C would be -6. Well done. Good job, everybody. That's really nice. Just be very careful at the end when you write your answer. What a lot of matric students do is they end up leaving the X out. Okay, so don't do that because you don't want to throw any marks away. All right, next question. Write down the equation of tangent SKL. Write down the equation of tangent SKL. No problem, Mr. Bavuma. Okay, so the equation of tangent SKL. Anybody got any idea how to do that? Let's see what it's out of. 2 marks. Okay, so it's out of 2. The equation of tangent SKL. Remember, in the beginning, we had discussed the fact that SKL was parallel to the x-axis. So, yeah, I want to hear what you guys... Hear what you guys think about that. What is the equation of tangent SKL? Indeed. Michael, how did you get that answer? What did you do to work out that it was 9? How did you do
Can
it,
you hear me?
Michael? Yes, absolutely.
So I recognize that the radius of the circle is 5 because from M to N, it's 5 units.
Yes.
So I realized that from M to K would also be 5 units. So I just took the Y value 4 plus the 5 to realize that Y there is 9.
Lovely. That's such a wonderful explanation, Makusandile. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Okay. Absolutely could not have said that better. Okay. So what he was doing here is he said he knows that the length of the radius is 5 units. So if M, the center of the circle, is sitting at 5 and 4, if he wants to go up to K, he's got to go 5 units above where M is. All right, so he added 5 onto 4 in order to get 9. Fantastic explanation. Thank you so much for that. All right, so this is the line y equals 9. Let's put it over there. Okay. Cornelia, does it make sense now? Right, so he knows that the length of the radius is 5 units. So he knows that from M to K, vertically, straight up, all right, he's got to go 5 units up. So if he's sitting at 4, then he's got to add 5 in order to get to 9. Okay. All right, so it's the y coordinate. It's the y coordinate here. Okay, so remember that gives us our position in terms of up and down, doesn't it? So if we're sitting at 4, this, so in other words, over here, this is now 4. You've got to go 5 units up, because remember the length of the radius was 5. So from here to there is 5 units up. Okay, so he's taken the 4 and he's added 5 to it in order to get that that must be 9. Does that make sense now? So the coordinates at N would be 0 and 4, yes. Quite right. Are we happy with that? Because they've told us that if you look up at the top here, Mr. Bavuma, in the diagram below, the circle with center M touches the y-axis at N. Okay, so yes, it was part of the information that was given to us. But I'm glad you're asking that, okay, because I think so often what happens is that we read things, we forget about them, or we didn't take it in properly when we read it the first time. So if we get stuck when we're answering a question, go back and read the information. And just see if there's something there that can help you make connections. All right, yeah, so N was a point on the y-axis. We know that the length of the radius is 5 units. So we would have to move 5 units above the position of M to get to K in a vertical line. So by adding 5 onto 4, that puts us at 9. Okay, good job. All right, let's carry on. Now they want us to show that L is the point 20 and 9. Okay, so now you know you were definitely right. No, you don't even need to do that, Kanisile. It's just a matter of writing down the answer only. Okay, only for 2 marks. All right, you're just literally going to add 4 and 5 together in your head and write down the answer only. Okay, for 2 marks. Yeah, in this case, yes. Yeah. Yeah, good. All right. So now they want us to show that L is the point 20 and 9. Okay, so if they're asking us to solve simultaneously, all right, it means that we need 2 equations. So we've got one, we've got y equals 9, right? Do we have another one? Yes, what have we got, Cornelia? Okay, quite right. So we've got 3 over 4x minus 6. Absolutely. All right, so we've got the tangent PBL. All right, so what we can do here is that we can then go and make these two equal to one another. All right, so we're going to take, just write this over here on the side. Hang on one second. So this is 3.6. I'm working over here now, instead of on the left-hand side, instead of here on the right-hand side. So the equation of our tangent, that was from 3.4.2. So that's this guy over here, which Cornelia, you already told us about. So we've got y, which is 9, is equal to 3 over 4x. Was it plus 6 or minus 6? Oh, minus 6. I wrote plus 6. Okay, let's just fix that up. Okay. Minus 6. Yes, of course, because P is a point on the negative y-axis. All right, so taking the negative 6 over to the other side, that would leave us with 15. So 15 would be equal to 3 over 4x. And I'm going to cross multiply. And that's going to give me 3x is equal to 60. And therefore x would be equal to 20. So that means the coordinates at L are going to be 20 and 9. Everybody happy with that? Are we feeling good? Oh, good. So glad to hear that. All right, lovely. Let's go and see what the next question is. Calculate the length of ML in third form. Okay, I think I can let you guys do that question as well. Leave it in third form. So remember the coordinates at L are 20 and 9. Calculate the length of ML in third form, please. If you, well done, Ganesile. Okay, that's fine. Just make sure that we can do this though. All right, so I'm just going to do the answer as well. Okay, so that means in 3.8, where's the pen? We've got M5 and 4. And L was 20 and 9. So the distance of ML is 5 minus 20 squared plus 4 minus 9 squared lengths. So, okay, let's see if Kanyisile had the right answer, although I have no doubt that she would have been able to do this. Okay, I'm getting the same answer as you. Can you see that? I'm also getting 5 root 10. Okay, good stuff. Everybody happy? Lovely. Okay, you guys are getting the same answer too. Good stuff. Okay, so I mean, all of these questions so far really haven't been that bad, have they? Right, I think, I mean, okay, maybe the tangent question was a little bit of a thinking question, but it's really not so bad. So now we've got a 5-mark question. They want us to determine the equation of the circle that passes through points K, L, and M. How are we going to do that? What do you think we need to do here? What do you think is the center of the circle, by the way? What do you think that K and M represent?
Sorry, ma'am.
Yeah. What do you think, Cornelia?
The K and M, that just took me off guard. I was gonna try find out, isn't L and M gonna be the midpoints would be the center? Just
So do you think L is the center?
No, I said midpoints of L and M.
Okay, midpoint of L and M. Why do you want to work with the midpoint of L and M, Cornelia? Sorry, I don't understand.
Hey, damn.
No, explain it to me. I'm just not sure how working out the midpoint of M and L is going to help you work out the equation of the circle. Because I think what we need to try and establish here is, because if they want us to write it in the form x minus p squared plus y minus q squared equals c squared, we clearly need to know the coordinates at the center, don't we?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So now, does it seem likely, right, that, mind you, maybe I'm making assumptions here. I was going to say I think that L has to be the center of the circle. L is at the center. I agree. I also think that L is at the center of this circle. Why can't K be at the center? Okay, because then it's not passing through that, is it? No, but hang on a second. Determine the equation of the circle passing through these points. Hang on, we don't know what the coordinates at the center are. We just know that it goes through all of those points, don't we?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry, we need to be so careful here. There we go, Capano, find the midpoint of L and M, because L and M will be the diameter subtending. There we go. All right, nice. Okay, so in other words, if the circle goes through, so you were right about that, Cornelia, well done. Maybe that's just not what you were trying to say, but you were on the right track. Okay, so if the circle passes through points L, M, and K, then what that means is that somewhere in the middle over here is going to be the center of the circle. LM is indeed the diameter. Okay, and remember the diameter subtends a right angle at the circle. Okay, so we know that LM is the diameter of this circle. We know the length of ML. So the diameter, the radius is going to be half the diameter, right? So remember your diameter was 5 root 10. So our radius has to be 5 root 10 divided by 2. Sorry, I didn't understand that that's what you were trying to say, Cornelia. My apologies. All right, and then, yes, you're going to use midpoint formula to work out the coordinates at the center over there. So working out the midpoint, well, we can't call it M. Let's give it another letter. What haven't we used here? Let's call it C, since that's fine. Okay, so the coordinates at C, we would end up with 5 plus 20 over 2. And then we would end up with 4 plus 9 over 2. So the coordinates at C would end up being 25 over 2 and 13 over 2. The other thing that we need to do, remember, is we want the radius squared. So we would need to work out what r squared is by squaring the right-hand side over here. So that would be 25 times 10 divided by 2, and that would leave us with 125. Is everybody happy with that? So the equation of the circle passing through points K, L, and M would be x minus 25 over 2 squared plus y minus 13 over 2 squared is equal to 125. Okay, does that make sense? Cool, Juanita. How's everybody else feeling? Oh, I'm glad, Alrina. Okay, so Kulani, I took the 5 root 10 over 2 and I squared it. Oh, do something. Can you see? Hang on a second. Maybe I was just stupid. Sorry, my brain is, I'm shattered now. Not that that's an excuse, but anyway, 5 root 10. Sorry, I got 100, it's 125 over 2. There we go. There we go. That's it. Sorry, I forgot about the denominator. Silly. Yes. Okay. There we go, Kulani. All right. Sorry, at the beginning, I didn't understand what Cornelia was trying to say, why I was talking about the midpoint of ML. But yes, I think it's important for us to establish that ML is the diameter of this circle because the circle passes through points ML and K. And we know that it has to be the diameter because the diameter subtends a right angle at the circumference. And we know that line SKL has to be perpendicular to line MK. All right. Everybody okay with that? Oh, good stuff. All right. Well, if there aren't any other questions, let's go and have a look at the next question I've got for us. Okay, so that is this one over here. Hopefully we'll be able to finish this in time. I see we're running out of time. It's always an issue, isn't it? Okay, so question number 4 says to us, let's just see if we can put this over here. Are we missing anything? No. All right, so in question number 4, they've told us that we have a circle centered at M and it passes through the point C minus 1 and 2 and cuts the y-axis at E. The diameter CMD is drawn and ACB is a tangent to the circle. Okay, in question 4.11, they want us to determine the equation of the circle. Do you think you guys can do that without me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. All right, let's see what you guys are getting. Yes, I agree. Can you see that? That's what I got as well as an answer. Okay, so you would have had to work out the length of R squared using the coordinates at the center. So what I would have done here is I would have subbed in and said x is equal to -1 when a is equal to -2, and y is equal to 2 when b is equal to 4, and got r squared, and then you would have ended up with r squared being equal to 13. And you know the coordinates at m, the center, thus we would have ended up with x minus 2 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 13. Okay, lovely. Let's see if we can do 4, 1, 2, the coordinates at D. How do we think we would do that? Okay, so the rest of you can work out D in the meantime if you want to. So Mr. Bavuma, this is what I did, is I substituted, it's a bit dark, isn't it? I substituted in an X coordinate. Okay, so over here, I was saying X minus A, and here I was saying Y minus B. So A comes from here, B comes from there, and then here's the X and the Y that I used. Does that make sense, Mr. Bavuma? Oh, you mean how did she get the squares? Oh, sorry. Okay, all right. Yeah. Hope you'll have to tell us how you managed to do that. Yes, absolutely. You could have done that too, Hope. Quite right. Yeah. Okay, so the coordinates at D, has anybody managed to work out what those are? Do you know how to do it, or you're not sure?
Ma'am, I got the answer as 5:6.
Oh, you got at the coordinates of D?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you said 5 and 6.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how did you get that, Cornelia? What did you use?
Midpoints, and since we have the value of the actual midpoints, just
Yes.
separate the two.
Yeah, absolutely, quite right. So you would have gone, so you would have said that the X at D minus 1 over 2 is equal to the X at the midpoint, which is 2. So the X at D is equal to, that would be 4 plus 1, which would have given us 5. I quite agree, and we would have done the other one the same way as well. Okay, so the Y coordinate at D plus 2 over 2 has got to be equal to 4. I agree. So I would have also got the Y coordinate at D to be equal to 6. Lovely. Okay. No problem. That's just it. I was going to ask if somebody used translation. I don't see why not, Mako Sandile, but what I would do there is I would write my rule for translation. Okay, so in other words, what are you doing with X and Y? No, actually, what did they say? Just write down the coordinates at D. No, then I wouldn't even worry about it. It would just be 1 mark on each. I wouldn't even worry about showing the rule for translation then. But yes, I quite agree with you. Okay, so however many units you went up and over from C to M, you would have done the same thing from M to D. Okay, good stuff. Now 413, determine the equation of AB in the form y equals mx plus c. I'll let you guys do that question as well on your own. Okay, if you've got the answer to the equation of AB, then you are welcome to share it in the chat. I've got the same as you, Michael Sandile Pumezi. Maybe this is a typo. So I also got -3/2x, not -3/4x. Yeah, I thought so. Yes, I quite agree, Hope. Yes. Can you see, Leah, I got the same answer as you. Okay, so just moving on then. Just quickly do that before we carry on. I would have calculated the gradient of the tangent, the gradient of the radius, beg your pardon, MC, by saying 4 minus 2 over 2 plus 1. That's where you guys are getting the 2/3 from. And then we know that the gradient of the radius times the gradient of the tangent equals -1. So if the gradient of the radius is 2/3, then the gradient of the tangent, sorry, -1, has to be -3/2. Okay, and then subbing into y equals mx plus c using the coordinates at c. So 2 and -1. So we would have said 2 equals -3/2 times -1 plus c. And that meant that c was equal to 1/2. So yes, I quite agree. That is the line y equals -3/2x plus 1/2. So you can see, like in all of these questions, they're always asking us to find the equation of a straight line using the gradient of the radius times the gradient of the tangent. Okay, so very, very important concept. We have to be able to do that. All right, next question. Show that, no, sorry, not show that. Calculate the coordinates at E. So they don't say, oh, they do, and cuts the y-axis at E. That means that E is a y-intercept. Please, will you work out the coordinates at E? Okay, Michael, that's good. Yes, sure, Hope. Sorry, I beg your pardon. E is up at the top there. It's a point on the y-axis. Sure, Cornelia, not a problem. Okay, so if E is a point on the y-axis, we know that at E, x has to be equal to 0. Okay, so we need to solve for y and make x equal to 0. Does that make sense? So we're going to use our formula from here, make x 0, and then solve for y. Okay, no problem. So like this. Okay, and then obviously we'll end up with something that's quadratic. No, it's no problem, Cornelia. I also make mistakes. None of us are perfect. Okay, so I hope you got the same answer. Okay, I'm going to also work through this. So here we would have ended up with 4 plus y squared minus 8y plus 16 minus 13 equals 0. So that would give us y squared minus 8y. And then that would be 3 and 4 is 7. Hey, yep. All right, so here we would end up with, just go down a bit, y minus 7 times y minus 1. So y is 7 or y is 1. Okay, so at E, y would be equal to 7. So therefore the coordinates at E must be 0 and 7. Quite agree. Okay, good job. Well done. Very nice. Okay, yes, Cornelia, we get the same answer. Cool. All right, now they want us to show that EM is parallel to AB. All right, so if they want us to show that it's parallel, it means that we need to work out the what of EM. What are we calculating about EM to show that it's parallel to AB? Exactly, Alrina and Kanyesile and Hope. Yes. Okay, so the gradient. So the gradient of EM, last question here. So the gradient of EM. So we know what E is. M was the point 2 and 4. So I'm just going to pop that over there. M was 2 and 4. E was 0 and 7. So we've got what? 7 minus 4 over 0 minus 2. Okay, so that's going to give us negative 3 over 2. Okay, so the gradient of the tangent is the same. Okay, so the gradient of EM is equal to the gradient of the tangent. So therefore, EM is parallel to AB. That's it, well done. Okay, are there any questions that anybody wants to ask? I'm going to stop there because I don't think there's going to be time for us to do 4.2, but that is definitely a question I will do with you. Have your teachers done? Yeah, so I know there's a poll as well. Please answer the poll. What problems did the quiz have, Pumeza? Please explain. What was wrong?
Ma'am.
Yes, can you see the go for it?
Oh, I think Pumeza is about to talk. I'm sorry.
You can talk, Kadisile.
Oh, okay. So, ma'am, with the last quiz, what was happening is that the first 2 answers that I got, I cross-checked them, but then they were wrong. They said that they were wrong.
Okay.
And then the next 3 questions, they didn't give us options. They just said option 1, option 2, option 3. Without
Really?
the extra options or the answers. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that is, so there must have been something, oh, then you know what, something must have gone wrong with the authoring of the quiz, because I never said option 1, option 2, option 3. I always give you 3 values or 3 equations or whatever the case is. All right, so maybe there were just some problems with that. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Ms.
All
Melissa told us to do the foundation squeeze, and that's what we did.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. Sorry about that, but you know, obviously people, yeah, get things wrong every now and again, but I will feed that back.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you for letting me know. All right, well, I don't know if there are any other questions you guys wanted to ask us. No problem, Kanyisile. Well done and good luck. If you've answered the poll, you are more than welcome to go. Night, night, Alrina. Not now, hope we've run out of time. Okay, but I will, you know what, I'll do it with you at the beginning of the next lesson. Have you done intersecting circles? Hope? Bye, Cassandra. Okay, all right. I promise I'll do it with you at the beginning of the next lesson. Okay.